Today I'm going to tell you how to go on the run and do it the right way. And I'm in this shady looking area because most people think like people going on the run are going to be hiding in this place and this is where we're going to be living for the next 9 months. But I'm going to tell you the right way to do it. My name is Jason Hanson. I'm a former CIA officer and I'm the New York Times bestselling author of Spy Secrets Can Save Your Life.
Please welcome back former CIA officer Jason Hanson.
Former CIA Jason Hanson.
This handsome fella is Jason Hanson.
This is Jason Hanson, former CIA guy.
So recently, as in just a few days ago, we had the story that was all over the news. It was about the prison guard. She'd been a prison guard for something like 25 years. And then she broke out her lover who they'd been dating or something for 2 years and then went on the run. They got caught after 10 days. So if you're doing something illegal, you should obviously get caught. But I'm going to tell you how I help people go on the run, how to disappear without a trace. Before I do that, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on that ring notification. But let's get down to business. So in my business, I do some consulting. So I help them start a new life, disappear without a trace. And I can tell you honestly, the only reason you're gonna wanna do this is if you have serious threats against you, because it is very mentally tough. It takes an incredible amount of discipline. So going back to this woman who's a prison guard who had her boyfriend and they broke out and they were caught after 10 days, there's only one thing they did right. And the only thing they did right is to use cash. The guy, the convicted murderer, he was 6'9". That is a major problem when you're going on the run because you need to blend in. So it doesn't matter how many wigs you use. It doesn't matter all that kind of stuff. You can even change your gait, which you should. 6'9" is hard to hide. So hopefully you're not 6'9", and then if you have to disappear, you're more normal looking like I am, meaning I'm not super tall, I'm not, anything. At least I think I'm normal looking. Some may disagree. So that helps blend in. As I said, the only thing they did right, and the one thing they did right is they had cash. You've got to have some cash. You can go sell your house like the woman did, take that cash. I personally build up cash all the time just to have for emergency uses. I don't plan to go on the run. I have no desire to go on a run unless my kids start driving me more crazy. Maybe I will, but I believe you should have emergency cash. I have it in a fireproof safe. I have it in various areas, including home, including storage units, including places I'm not even going to tell you. So just do a little bit each month. If you go and try and build up $50,000 overnight, well, maybe you have the money and God bless you, God bless capitalism. For most people, it's a good idea. Hey, I'm just gonna add $200 every month to my emergency stash cash. That way I have it. So when people come to me, I usually expect to hear very horrible stories, right? Like, hey, my boyfriend's gonna murder me, my ex-husband's gonna murder me, the court system won't help me, yada, yada, yada. So this woman hires me for a day of consulting. I'm expecting to hear some horrible story, and she basically tells me in a nutshell, hey, my husband is a loser. He hasn't had a job in 20 years. I'm a very successful executive. I almost said what she did. I'm not going to say that. But I'm a very successful executive, and I just want to disappear and never have anybody find me, not have to deal with them, any of that. Well, here's the problem with that. If you're trying to vanish for those reasons, you have to notify people. So you have to send that Dear John letter to your husband that says, hey, you're a loser, hasn't had a job in 20 years, adios. You have to notify your friends and family. Because if you just vanish, what's going to happen? Well, the police, the FBI, everybody's going to get involved, and you don't want law enforcement coming after you. So if you are disappearing for good, legitimate reasons, meaning non-illegal reasons, you're not a fugitive, just escaped from prison, then you have to let somebody know. That way you don't have the full, federal government coming after you, bothering you. So that's very important. Next, how do you decide where to go? Well, you want a small city, and when I say small, 25,000 and 50,000 people. You don't want a city of 100 because then you will stand out. But I'll tell you why you want the small city in a moment. But 25 to 50,000 allows you to blend in. You also want to be in a conservative place. So you want to be in a state like Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, something like that. Florida's good. Florida's got a ton of small cities too. And the reason you want to be there is because when you go to that city, you're going to use your cash to rent an apartment. And you're going to go to a mom and pop apartment management, or not an apartment, excuse me. You want to rent a townhome or a house from an individual, not an apartment. The reason you don't want an apartment is they have big databases, they're going to have all your information. But when you go to these small places, small towns, and you rent a place, you want to go to a mom and pop property management company. That's what I meant to say a second ago. These mom and pop property management companies, if you bring them a cashier's check with a first month's rent, last month's rent, and security deposit, they will happily take your check without running any kind of background checks, without doing anything. You don't want to go to a big firm, let's say a RE/MAX or some national property management firm. They're going to have computer databases that are big. They're going to have many, many checks, meaning they're going to have things they have to check off to satisfy, their corporate overlord. So these mom and pop places, they're small town USA. They're not having huge databases. They're not running a bunch of checks. How do I know? Well, I live in a small town in Utah. When I moved here, just because I always like to do this stuff for the fun of it, even though it drives my wife crazy, we did exactly what I'm just telling you. I got a cashier's check. We rented a townhouse. They didn't background check me. They didn't do anything. Those property management companies, cash is king. When they see that cashier's check, they're happy to take it. The reason you want to be in a small conservative town is if you go to New York City and you try and do this, well, New York City is going to want 27 forms of ID. They're going to want to have you fill out 1 million pieces of paperwork. They're going to want to have your firstborn. You're going to have a DNA sample, and Chairman Mao is going to have to approve you to rent that place. So stay away from liberal big cities. Go to small conservative towns and do just what I said. Cashier's check, mom and pop. So you want, hey, John Doe's Real Estate Management Company. Like I said, you don't want RE/MAX. You don't want Berkshire Hathaway or any of that kind of stuff, which is a national type of chain. Once you go to your small conservative town, you have to make sure there's public transportation. You are not going to be driving around in a vehicle. That's how people get caught all the time. And it's not as if you're going to be able to go online and pay $500 for a fake ID. If you do that and say, hey, I just went online and I sent $500 to somebody, guess what? You're going to never see that $500 again, and you aren't getting any type of ID. So find public transportation. The small town I live in has perfect public transportation. There's a bus system, goes everywhere. So you don't need to own a car, and you won't want to own a car because there's just another way to track you. If you do have a car and you get pulled over for speeding and you show them a fake license, they're going to know that. You're going to get caught. If you show them your real license, well, obviously, that can be if you're a fugitive, that's in the database. But let's just say you're a good, honest person. But maybe you've got a very wealthy ex-husband coming after you, and he knows how to do illegal things. And so when the cops give you a ticket that says, hey, you got a ticket in John Doe, you got a ticket in Timbuktu, Wyoming, and he knows how to hack into those databases, well, he now knows you're in Timbuktu, Wyoming. So dump the vehicle as soon as possible. Don't even have a vehicle. Take trains, planes, automobiles, paying cash as much as you can to where you want to go and use public transportation. Now, people always ask me about burner phones. Here's the truth about burner phones. Yeah, you can go into Walmart. You can grab the prepaid phone. You can grab the minutes. Do not go home and do it on the internet because that's not good. You have to put in your information. You go up to the counter. You say to the person, hey, can you activate this phone for me? They're going to roll their eyes at you because they hate actually working and doing their job, but they will do it. So they're going to activate it. And they're going to say to you, hey, do you have any phone number, other phone number that you want associated with this? No. Do you have an email you want associated with this? No. What what area code would you like this phone number to be? And you should obviously have an area code in mind. Clearly not where you're going to live. Just pick one. And if you're going to go live in Idaho, pick an area code in Maine or something like that. So make sure they're far, far away. And then the Walmart person or Target or wherever you go, they'll activate the phone, hand it to you, and you've got your minutes. If you have a high threat level, you will never, ever have any kind of electronic device again. If your threat level is low, then yeah, get a burner phone just like I suggested. But if you're really going on the run from somebody serious, let's hypothetically say I had a client once got involved in the wrong crowd. They needed to go on the run because this wrong crowd was going to kill them. So they wanted to hire me and my company for bodyguard service because we do a lot of executive protection work. Well, I said, hey, one, it's going to cost you a fortune. Two, we're not the Secret Service. We can't shut down highways. We can't shut down buildings and all that. So it's just too dangerous. So the safest thing for you to do is disappear without a trace, which is what this individual might have done. It is very, very lonely if you're going to do it. You're never going to use email again. You're never going to use the internet. You are not going to have a bunch of friends. You're not going to go to Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything back home. Going on the run may sound sexy and cool when it comes to Hollywood and the movies, but in real life, unless somebody is threatening your life and you are very, very motivated, you're not going to want to do it. The woman I talked about at the very beginning of this story who wanted to just get rid of or lose her husband who didn't have a job, I told her all this and she was like, oh yeah, maybe I don't want to do this because it is so lonely, because you're not going to see your loved ones again. Also, it takes an incredible amount of discipline. If you're trying to disappear for real, you're only going to use cash. As I said, you're not going to be getting on the internet and doing all checking your Facebook page. Also, you are going to change your habits. If somebody's trying to find you, they are going to comb through your life and they're going to know them better than you know you better than you know yourselves. So let's say you were a fugitive. The marshals are coming after you. They are going to comb through your life. They're going to know everything about you, your hobbies, your likes. Where did you travel? Who do you talk to? Like I said, they're going to know you better than you know yourself, which is why, let's say you love yoga. You're not going to move into this small conservative town and go to the nearest yoga studio. Me, who loves guns, if I went on the run, I'm never going to a gun store again because that's the first place you're going to look. So you have to think and you have to be disciplined. And most people don't have this discipline, especially fugitive criminals or knuckleheads. They are always going to screw up or trip up. And the U.S. government has years to look for you. You only have one chance to make that mistake. And when you make that mistake, they're going to find you, which is why it's so hard to go on the run and which is why you have to be so disciplined. So you have to think, hey, I love Chick-fil-A. Well, I'm never going to eat a Chick-fil-A again. Hey, I love whatever store. And you have to think about all your hobbies, your likes, anything that they're going to find out about you and not do it anymore, which is why it takes so much discipline. Of course, you're going to use disguises, grow out your beard, dye your hair, all that kind of stuff, wear a mask, which is, easier these days. Even though I hate wearing masks and I'm in Utah, which is very conservative, we never had to wear masks. If you were going on the run, you could wear a mask and it wouldn't be as obvious these days. So that's a benefit. Have your ball cap, facial hair. Facial hair, you have to know what you're doing. That way it's not like the movies where your mustache is hanging off sideways. So in theory, it's not hard to go on the run if you are disciplined. But most people will lose their mind. Most people will have a mental breakdown just because it is so mentally tough. So I've thrown a few things, I guess a lot of things at you about how to disappear, how to go on the run, only if you're doing it legally. If you want more in a special report that I give away, go to bugoutbadguns.com. Again, bugoutbadguns.com, and you'll get a very in-depth special report, which gives you even more detailed intelligence operative tips about how to disappear. All right, that's enough. I got to run, get out of this creepy room that I'm in. Have a wonderful rest of the day. I'm former CIA officer Jason Hanson. Make sure you like, subscribe. I got a lot more videos coming your way.